Warning, xero.style is known to cause gas or gear acquisition syndrome. Prolonged exposure to me and my vlog may cause you to buy knives, flashlights, patches, pouches, radios, pocket trash, and other EDC junk you may or may not need. You've been warned. Secondary disclaimer, I'm just some random dude on the internet talking about his personal life on a vlog. This is no kind of technical legal advice or anything like that. So please, take everything I say as my opinions only. Enjoy. Welcome to xero.style. I am your host, Xero, the cyberspace hero. Here this week to talk about this, the Baofeng GT5R Pro. This is a very small $15 to $30 ranged radio. There are all kinds of different radio frequencies out there, and they have been allotted in little slots by the FCC for their usage. It goes all the gambit from consumer grade walkie-talkies like this, if you're going to be out hunting with your friends or playing airsoft, to business class walkie-talkies if you're at Lowe's, you see somebody talking on a radio like this, bus drivers, EMS, fire, police, other safety people, air traffic control, the planes themselves, all the way up to the International Space Station. We are using radio frequencies. Different types of radios, different antennas can pick up different types, and you need different licenses to actually broadcast on those frequencies. But you don't need any kind of license to listen on these frequencies. So, if you're nibby, if you're a peeping Tom, an audiovorist, or just a hacker who loves listening to things around them and exploring, this could be a very fun, cheap introduction to the radio hobby. There are a few radio bands that are open for anybody to transmit on, like FMRS and MURS. FMRS is the Family Radio Mobile Service, and MURS is the Multi-Use Radio Service. Both of these are very low numbers, like 151 type numbers, that allow you to transmit on those frequencies in a pretty localized area. It is good for if you're going to be hunting, if you're around a farm or something like that, like line of sight but distance communications. Those frequencies work great, and anybody can transmit on those. So it's good if you want to try out talking on these devices without a license. The next tier up, which is where I am sitting currently, is GMRS, the General Mobile Radio Service. This requires a license, which basically you just have to register on the FCC's website and get yourself a call sign. Call sign is a series of letters and numbers that identify you, the radio operator, when you're talking. I am WSHZ599. GMRS is cool because the handle covers your entire family, and entire family is very loosely worded. This could be your immediate family, your cousins, your actual neighbors. You can pass these radios out to these people in an emergency situation or whatever, and they can all use subclasses of your handle, like /alpha or Charlie, Bravo, and any one of those if you want, as a suffix of your handle. Above that, we go into the ham radio class. Ham radio requires a test, and there are 3 different levels of the ham radio thing. You can go all the way up to technician level or special operator level, where you get much more privileges, shorter call signs, the ability to do other things that you can't on the lower levels. I don't have any of those licenses, so I can only passively listen on those channels. Above that are things that you need specialized license for that you can't just apply for as a consumer. These could be licenses for businesses, for the FAA if you're going to be an air traffic controller or a pilot, stuff like that require specific channels on specific frequencies. You'll need a specific license to broadcast on them. Some people get those individually, some people inherit them from their business and get sub-training. It's kind of different each place, but that doesn't really matter. To say that there are a lot of different models of Baofengs on the market is an extreme understatement. The UV5R would be the most ubiquitous one that just about everybody knows the name of, all the way up to their really fancy radios. This guy, the GT5R Pro, probably somewhere in the middle, this is one of their newer devices. The big difference between this and the UV5R is what they've done with this SMA female connector to try and get rid of spurious emissions. For most people, you probably don't know what that is. I didn't. I had to Google it. But it's the amount of data that comes out of this on the channel that it expects to. Spurious emissions is when you are actually broadcasting onto other sub-channels that you're not intending to. It's a big no-no for the FCC. This radio conforms much, much closer to what the spec is, and it's basically like an updated UV5R. Maybe it has a little more frequencies like airband and stuff like that that the base model doesn't have. That's pretty much the only big difference. So here I am at a kid's birthday party. My 2 sons are running around having a great time. I'm kind of trying not to helicopter parent, standing back watching. And I notice my son is talking to Corey, who is my wife's niece's husband. So he's a family member of ours. So he's the fire chief in a small town in West Virginia. So he has to carry a radio with him all of the time. So I look over, and Fox and him are inspecting his radio, talking away about whatever. So I smile and just let it kind of naturally happen. And later that evening, we're sitting down having father-son talk time, and he says, "Dad, I want to get my ham radio license." And I'm like, "You want to do a bunch of paperwork and register with the FCC to talk on the radio?" And he says, "Yeah, Dad, that's exactly what I want." So, I don't know the first thing about ham radio. I don't know anything about radios besides tuning it in on your car frequency in FM and a little bit of AM. And I don't really understand frequency bands or anything like that except for that they exist. So I do a bunch of research, I Google stuff, I'm on radio forums, I'm looking at the FCC website. So after that research, I decided the best license for us to go for was our GMRS license, because the only test, so to speak, is navigating the cryptic FCC website and then paying $30 to get your handle. The handle actually covers your entire family, too. And entire family is very loosely worded in the documentation. So this could be your neighbors, this could be, your cousins or whatever. You can hand them out radios, and you guys can talk on allowed GMRS and FRS and MERS frequencies with radios that can work on those frequencies. Now, this Baofeng is not designed for GMRS, FRS, or MERS. This is designed for ham radio. But the big difference between a GMRS radio and a ham radio is usability. See, GMRS radios work on channels, and when you tune to a certain channel, that's actually a frequency, because that's all channels are, just memory-saved frequencies on your radio. It automatically will input offset, squelch, different tones, CCTS codes, whatever that acronym is, DTS codes, the quote-unquote privacy tones that allow you to talk on certain channels on these radios. All that happens for you automatically. Ham radios are designed for enthusiasts, hackers, people who want to take a device and learn how it works and do it all manually. So I thought if my son really wants to learn about radios, we should be using a hacker's radio and trying to actually manually learn how this stuff works. And then if he, continues being interested in this, maybe we could get a ham radio license for the kid if that's what he really wants to do. I don't know if I'm going to go that far in my journey or not, but that's the little inspo story for this adventure. Let's get to some gearless now, shall we? Unboxing time. We've got our 2 radios, a couple of antennas, and the programming tool that I'm going to show off later. Here's the box for the Baofeng, made in China. Inside, we've got the user manual. Read it. RTFM. It's the rule. Here's the radio. We'll get to that last. Comes with this antenna that's junk, an earpiece, and the power cradle, regular wall plug. Comes with a belt clip that has a nice retention. This lame wrist strap. Underneath the radio is the battery itself. We'll take a closer look at this in a second. And what you've been waiting for, the radio. Look at that thing. Look at it. Small, but mighty. Now the battery does not go and slide from the bottom. Put it a little closer to the top. It snaps right in. Oh yeah. Here is the standard ducky antenna. Take a look at the SMA female connector here. Screw that on. You can take a look at what the radio will look like stock.
Channel mode.
Potentiometer to turn the radio on and off.
Frequency mode.
Frequency and channel button. Set it here in the cradle. Seems a little wobbly. Try to investigate. Here are the Bingfu antennas. These things are the best. Love this flexible kind of end to them. Fly. Alright, let's pop off the ducky and put on the Bingfu. Now that is a nice looking radio. Alright, here is the TD programmer. It uses the OD Master software. This guy has a USB-C port on it, a little power button. It comes with a USB-C charging cable for it. Pop open the port on the side, push it in and snap it. Here it is. This is the grip with that on there, not that I think I'll be doing that. Alright, take a look at the 2 batteries right here. On the left, this is the USB-C version, and then on the right is the standard version. These are both first-party Baofeng batteries, so they're rated the same. They have almost all the same numbers here on the back of them with the model and all that kind of stuff. It's just, does it have a USB-C port and an LED on it? They both slide and snap in the same way. Alright, let's test these things out.
CR22. CR22.
We're going to take one female to Western Psych. Mileage is 284.
1518880.
Check, check. This is Wish Z599 on MERS 2 coming through with a little Baofeng test for a video. But you'll notice on this guy that's still factory, when you do the PTT, it beeps at you. But on the other radio right here, same make and model out of the same box, I'm able to transmit just fine. That's because I've unlocked this radio already. So we're going to hold monitor PTT, the VFO frequency switcher, and then power the device on. So we're going to hold all three of those at once. Turn it on, you should see factory.
Frequency mode.
And now, let me come in here on the same channel, 151880. This is Wishes 599 coming through on radio A. This is Wish 599 once again on the other radio coming through just fine. So yeah, I've changed a couple of the settings on this radio. This one we just opened up and unlocked. So radios work on frequencies, right? So you need to be able to tune different frequencies on your radio. The core of any radio is the VFO, the variable frequency oscillator. You look at the screen of any radio, you're going to see the frequency or channel that it is tuned to. You'll notice I got two numbers here on the top and the bottom. That's because this guy has two oscillators in it that allows me to tune to two frequencies at once. You can listen to both but transmit on one or the other. The VFO feature of your radio allows you to adjust those channels and tune into different frequencies. Let's quickly go over the buttons on this thing. On the front, we've got our keypad. This allows you to discreetly tune to frequencies. We've got a menu and an exit button. I bet you can guess what those things do. Up and down allows you to navigate from frequencies, channels, or menu options, depending on where you're at in the UI. The AB button switches the VFO from the top to the bottom. When you press it, you'll see that little caret thing move from the top to the bottom right there. Yep. This is the band mode, which will switch you from low band to high band, UHF to VHF. This button up here switches you from frequency to channel mode. On the side, we've got push to talk, the call button, the monitor button. On the other side here, we've just got the cover for the two inputs for this radio. Mine has a USB-C port on the bottom right here because I've got a USB-C powered battery. There is the eject switch for the battery on the backhand side. The potentiometer or variable resistor that functions both as the volume control and the on-off for the radio, and the SMA female connector for the antenna. That's it. That is all the stuff on this radio. On the side right here, there are two ports. One of them is for your headphones and the other one is for data. Most of the programmers, though, use both for whatever reason, so that's why there's two ports there. The programming of chirp can happen either by a cable directly to your computer or with the wireless programmer types that I have, the Bluetooth one. I'm going to talk about a little bit later in this video. Next up, let's talk about scanning, something everyone is interested in. Right here, you'll notice the asterisk button has SCN or scan on it. If you are in frequency mode, or if you are in channel mode, holding the scan button will begin a frequency or channel scan. It'll just start looping through each of them until something hits, and it will stop when something hits. It'll wait a few seconds, and then it will just start scanning again. And it will just continue scanning after a few seconds. You can adjust that interval in the settings and how many steps that you do outside of channel mode. I'm just looping through channels right now. If you find something interesting that you want, just hit the scan button again, and it will stop scanning, and it will leave you right there on that channel or frequency. Let's talk about antennas. And please, don't make fun of the way I say it. I know I'm not from Texas. Antennas use a SMA female connector on this radio. It's a specific type of port. The radio antenna has the male and it is a female on the radio itself. Different antennas are rated for different frequencies. They have something called center tuning a lot of the time. That is the most optimal area that they're able to talk in. So know what frequencies you want to listen to or transmit over before you start shopping. First, we're going to compare the stock ducky antenna with my favorite EDC antenna, the Bingfu Soft Whip. This is the ducky antenna, the stock antenna that comes with these radios. It's about as big as my small size glove hand, maybe slightly smaller than that. Look at that difference between these two antennas. Quite a difference, half the size. A little thicker, but half the size. This antenna does everything I need it to for shortwave, for listening in on things that are happening close to you. This radio works great for all of those kind of frequencies with this antenna on it. It's perfect. And this picks up a ton of GMRS when it's close to you. Using this antenna gets me more range for hearing other people and transmitting GMRS, but honestly, I wonder if this antenna doesn't have a better transmit range across the board, even on GMRS. So if you're gonna buy one antenna and you're gonna EDC it, the Chode is the way to go. This is the rocket antenna for sure. Don't get fooled into all those things that you read online about these Nagoya radio antennas. This is a 717. Now, if you're smart, you would know this, and if you're me, you didn't know it. This thing is not going to do anything for you on GMRS. There's a special G version of this, the Nagoya 717G or something like that. That's like way more expensive. That's what made me pick up this antenna. This is the ABBREE AR711 GMRS. The AR711 GMRS. This is the right antenna if you want to use your Baofeng to be doing GMRS work like I have been. So yeah, this is the antenna to get. This is the one that's in the description, not the Nagoya that everybody suggests online.
You're about to say again, my bus is starting to scream.
Is Jaya on the bus for Zephyr and Mission?
She is not.
It's not a xero.style video if we don't have a pouch involved, is it? This is the OneTigris, or Tigris, I'm not really sure, the OneTigris radio pouch. This is a very nice Velcro adjustable pouch. Right here in the front, we've got a little grip tab. Pull this thing open. You can see it's open here at the bottom. And you slide your radio into the front. If you have a longer radio, you can go ahead and push this thing like this, and give it some more room. You've got a shorter radio like this. Pull it up nice and tight, like so. Here on the back side, we've got this stretchy elastic band. I like to pull it right over top of the antenna and then secure it right on like this. So your radio literally cannot fall out of this pouch. It's very nice. This was like way longer and was made for super tall radios, and if you wanted to hook something else up, so I just wrapped mine a bunch of times on the end and then pulled this super tight. So now it just flips right over here on the front. The whole front of this thing is a web field, so let's slap some patches on this thing. From Twilight Patch Co., we've got the Space Pirate, because we're ruling the airwaves. We got a Blackout Plague Skull, and then from Phytonics, the new LA. Some sweet graffiti style. I'm not super into the bullets, but this is still a cool patch for that graph love. I've only got a few on here because of where the restraint for the Velcro actually needs to go on here, so got a few patches just to hook the thing up. We've got some really nice MOLLE straps on the back here. These are super, super tight. They are not adjustable at all, though. It does work on your hand if you got small hands like me. I don't think this is the intended point of these straps. I think just people with small size glove hands can actually do this. But this is made to go onto a belt, onto the strap of a bag or something like that, to keep your radio nice and secure while traveling. These guys button off. On the inside, we've got a series of webs, so if you want to attach something on the inside here, you've got 3 different choices in 2 different rows here. If you're playing airsoft, if you're playing war games, if you're just walking around in the woods, it's nice because these straps are sewn into multiple layers of this pouch all the way around. The stitching on this thing is great. I have 0 complaints on the quality of the stitch on this guy. OneTigris branding is the only branding on this guy. This is the blackout camo version. I opted for this over regular camo or OD because they were more expensive. I don't know why, but the blackout camo was cheaper, so that's what I went with. It's the same story with the all midnight version and the gray version as well too, like $5 cheaper. So you need a nice little radio pouch for your Baofeng. I suggest this OneTigris. Now maybe not as functional as a dedicated for a radio pouch. The Data Crew What a Junior works just fine for a Baofeng of this size right here. See, it almost zips up with the fatty antenna pushed to the one side. I've got nothing else on the interior. I've just got the radio zipped up in here. And then on the exterior pocket, I have hidden the Bluetooth programmer. This could be good if you needed to like go cross country with your radio and you're going to program it a bunch of times, but this isn't the kind of thing you really want to EDC. You're not going to be using this device all the time, but it does fit just right with the radio in the front of the pouch, so I thought I'd show it off. Now for antennas, that's a harder deal, especially when you got something like this, but the web here on the side works like a sword sheath down the edge of the pouch. If you use the thicker side of the antenna this way, gravity's not going to be able to pull that thing through. This could be completely unfunctional for you depending on how you're carrying it, but I thought I'd call it out. That is one way to carry a large antenna. Oh, you want to see the rees on this? Oh, yeah, sure. From Plague, we got the Misfortune Cat. From Toxic Patch Co., the Blackout Boo. Little antiquated EDC Blackout Mario Hammer Brothers Hammer. Blackout Malune Mob EDC Maricinco. Freshy Fresh Data Crew Blackout Air Freshener. EDC Booze Pentagram. Data Crew Coffee Reaper in Blackout. Use my discount code XERO15 for 15% off at datacrewla.com. And the Blackout Death from Neck Breakin'. Use my discount code XERO35 to get 35% off at neckbreakin.net. And that is the Blackout Data Crew What a Junior radio pouch setup that I've made for you to check out this week. So up here on the top is this orange call button, which is for emergencies, and you don't really want to press it unless you want to listen to AM/FM radio. Tap this one time. Oh no! What are the chances of getting some ska on the radio, right? You feel that? You feel that? Alright, so yeah, this has an AM/FM radio tuner right here in this call button. So down here on the bottom is the monitor button. You press this to listen regardless of whatever the squelch setting is here, but if you just touch it one time instead of holding it, it switches on the little flashlight. Touch it a second time, it goes into blinky flashlight. Third time, turns it back off again. It's not a super bright flashlight. I don't know the lumen amount on this. If it's in the manual, I'll put it on the screen, but it's low lumen, just know that. But it's there in case you need it for a quick look at a map or something like that in the dark with your radio. All right, next up we got this order from Defense Distributors. We're gonna talk about accessories for this guy. So we're just going to take the Ranger band, wrap it around the radio. You can adjust it where you need it to go. You want it to cover both the SPF mic cover on this side and the PTT button. You don't want to cover the VFO MIR memory button up here, but at the same time, like, you're covering up a lot of the speaker. So definitely makes the PTT guard more secure down here on the corner. I'm not sure how I feel about losing a lot of the speaker with this. So, we'll see. I sort of knew it was going to happen, but I'm still a little bit disappointed by how much extra, width we've put here on the back, screwing this guard here on the side. But I'm going to check it out and see how it goes. Whether I like it or not, we will find out. I completely understand the allure of one of these things. When your radio is in the pouch and it is on, you do not want this PTT button getting accidentally pressed while it's flopping around in your bag, on your belt, or wherever this thing is attached to. My initial impressions are positive of this PTT guard. It does not make this radio change any kind of way in this pouch. If anything, maybe it feels a little bit more secure with that on the side there. Pulling it in and out is about the same. The grip feels about the same. There's a tiny little bit of edge here. I might sand that ever so slightly here just for a little bit more nice kind of grip. But this is very nice, and I dig this, and I understand why people put PTT guards on these Baofeng radios. The Ranger Band, on the other hand, I don't know if I'm sold on putting this thing here across my radio. It definitely holds the PTT guard in better, but like, shouldn't it be just nicely attached on its own by design? This is the PTT guard and Ranger Band from Defense Distributors on my radio. I actually got this little glow O-ring from Plague. Clay sent it along with a Maker's Choice bead that I got in a drop, and I was just like, yup, this is what it's finally for. So the reason that this is on here is because this is really touchy. And if this is in your pouch or a pocket, you don't want it to just jump to a super high volume or turn off. This gives it a little more friction, makes it a little harder for you to turn this thing. And of course, my son was jealous of my glow ring, so I grabbed an O-ring from Defense Distributors as well, too. So we'll check out and see how it fits on this radio. Once again, I'm just going to wrap it right over here on the top. This one's a lot tighter than mine. It's a lot thinner and more minimal. It sits a lot closer than mine does. I feel like it works just about the same. So yeah, if you need to grab an O-ring, this is definitely the right size on the Defense Distributors website. Baofeng radios also have this insanely tiny little lanyard loop right here. I personally put a zipper pull from Pete's Pirate Life on mine. It's got his nice little skull and blades Jolly Roger logo. I've also seen online if you remove these screws and take the back part of the case off, you can actually just remove this whole thing. So let the computer programmer talk about programming this radio. The most direct way is to literally tune a frequency in VFO mode, switch to channel mode, and then save that as a channel on your radio. Boom, it's programmed. Or you can use a device like this. This is the TIDRADIO TLBD1. This is the Bluetooth version of their adapter. It charges via USB-C now. The older versions, literally you had to put a C battery in these things. There's a button here on the side to power it on. And then, like I said before, the two ports on the side of this are going to take this. So in my testing, I have found, turn this thing on first. Press the power button. You'll see the little blue LED turn on. Then insert it into the two ports on the side of your radio, pushing it in until it clicks. Then turn your radio on. Now, switch to the software on your phone, your tablet, and then go ahead and program your frequency channels into this radio. In one swoop, you can save it and export it, share it with your friends, import other people's saved chirp files. This particular programmer uses this piece of software called OD Master. It is free. You can grab it from the Apple App Store, the Google Play Store. They also have a website that you can use for desktop. If you have a browser that is capable of doing Bluetooth pairing, you can use this like in Chrome or Safari to directly pair this through the website if you don't want to install an app on a device. But it is handy in the field if you have a tablet or a phone with you, if you want to do the programming for you that way. Alright, so here is a traditional chirp cable. This one is made by ABBREE. So we're going to open up our little port here on the side. We'll insert our cable like that. Now here's where the Ranger Band comes in handy. It's nicely secured in there and it's not going anywhere. A little USB hub for this Mac, and I'm just going to plug the USB port right in here. And now let's jump onto the computer. So from the My Chirp Radio website, we're going to grab the version of Chirp for whatever operating system that you want. Go ahead and install it. Run our Chirp software. First thing we're going to do is select Radio, and then download from Radio. When you choose the USB port, this won't show up until you plugged it in. Choose your vendor and your model number. Hit OK. It's going to tell you now to turn the radio on into max volume. We're going to hit OK. And now it's going to clone from the radio. I've programmed a few things on this, so we'll see what pops up. And here we go. We've got a couple different frequencies pre-programmed in here already. Alright, I have gone ahead and entered all these different frequencies from my notes file into a nice little chirp document right here with all the frequencies that I want, some notes, polarities, modes, tones, all the details that we need them to have in here. You also want to come up to here and go to Radio and select Band Plan. Make sure you've got the correct one. I'm choosing North America, obviously. File, Save As, and then go ahead and save your file just to be sure that you have a copy of it. Then you're going to choose Radio, Upload to Radio. All the stuff's going to come up in here. I'm going to hit OK. Once it completes, that's pretty much all you got to do. Turn the radio back off. Pull out the programming cable. Yep, it looks like all of our channels are programmed in here. We got GMRS, MERS, FRS, some of my favorites in here. Yep, looking good. Alright, this time with the Bluetooth programmer. I'm just going to plug that guy right into here. Press the power button. Turn the radio on to max volume. We're going to go into the app on my tablet. Hit connect Bluetooth. TDI radio kit. Wait for it to pair. It'll tell you the bits per second it expects. Select your model. Go with Baofeng. We're going to find our GT5R. This does not have the Pro in it. It's GT5R beta. I'm going to choose read from the device. I see a little progress bar pop up. Under here now, we can see everything that's programmed. If we hit channel, alright, so we can see all of the channels that we had programmed from before. If we go into function, we can see all of the different functions of the radio in here, including these features that everyone wants to know about the power on messages. Once you have all of the channels and functions and everything that you want programmed into this device, you can choose to save it and give it a certain name so you can reprogram it, or we can just hit write. The little progress bar once again will come on. The radio is blinking, so is the Bluetooth. Trust me, I'm not touching it. I tried this a couple times before and it failed, and I wonder if it was being too touchy, so I want to test it and find out now that I know how to unbrick this radio if possible. Alright, there's our little OK message. We're going to go ahead and turn the radio off, turn the programmer off. Let's say device is connected. We'll just gently pull that out. Power on the radio.
Channel mode.
As soon as I make any kind of stuff with this programmer and this app on my iPad, all the GMRS frequencies lock. If I power this off and do the factory reset, it says factory, it beeps at you. Doesn't work. How about that? So, I've tried it twice. I cannot make this programmer make the GMRS stuff still work on this radio, whether I choose the model as the GT-5R, whether I choose it as the UV5R. I've tried a bunch of them. No matter what I do, I cannot make this programmer work. So back to Chirp to unbrick this radio. We're going to plug our programming cable in nice and firmly in here. You're going to hit that power button, turn it to max volume, make sure it's on some frequencies that are not getting any data so you don't get crosstalk in your communications protocol. We're going to open the Chirp software, hit radio. Now, for whatever reason, when I came into here and went to settings and went to other settings, the VHF lower, upper, and UHF lower and upper values were just straight up blank. They weren't there at all. They were highlighted in yellow as errors. So luckily I take good notes. For this radio, I grabbed the VHF lower band 136 and upper band 260. Same with UHF on its two frequencies. Plugged them into here and went to radio and upload to radio. All of a sudden, everything worked again. Right here, these UHF TX enabled, you couldn't send on them because literally it didn't know what the frequency ranges it was able to do were. So now that I've done that, I'm going to turn the radio off, pull the cable out, close this up.
Channel mode.
Radio Fox is still here. You can see 462. I can transmit again. Alright, you can see all of our channels are programmed in here just the way that I had them set up. The ones that are locked and you shouldn't be talking on, like the cops.
3.
Copy, minute 4 out of Mercy.
Yeah, so I've officially locked this channel in the Chirp software. You can see right here, number 3, I've got duplex set to off.
Medicaid 503.
In the epic battle of radio programmers, there is one clear victor. Cable is king. This guy, he's out of here. Shit. So if you want to buy this radio, I suggest you get one of these cables and use the real Chirp programming software. I messed around with the OD Master app a bunch off of this, both on my phone, on their website, on the iPad, and I just absolutely could not unbrick my son's radio after I programmed it with that thing. Never touched my radio with that, but I chirp programmed mine with the cable a couple different times on my Mac, so I think we're good to go. Use the real chirp software is the answer. Here's a little unexpected tidbit. I didn't expect this one. I bought the USB-C battery because I know me and charging stuff with USB-C. I thought for sure that's what I was going to be doing. But the cradle actually ain't bad. The 3 little prongs here on the back are still on the USB battery, just like they are on the stock one that comes with it. You just set it right in the cradle and it charges right up. The reason it was wobbly in the unboxing is because there's actually 2 seats in the cradle. The forward part doesn't actually charge it. It just sets it down vertically. The back part actually makes an attachment here and allows it to charge. I find myself tossing this radio in the charger or the not charger in its base more times than not. So unless you're thinking about this radio in the like prepper being out, you know, not having power all of the time sense, then yeah, get the USB-C battery. But if you're gonna have this at your house and carry this every day, try the cradle first before you buy the different battery. That's my hot take. No technical testing, but just my personal opinion from what I've done. I've used both batteries for about an equal amount of time. I think that they take about the same amount of time to discharge. They're the same milliamp. People have been saying like, but there's more USB hardware in here, so the battery's gotta be smaller. I don't know, they seem to last the same amount of time to me, so. Your mileage may vary though. Good battery hygiene is the most important part. Discharging your devices almost all the way to being done and then charging them all the way back up every single time keeps those juices in your liquid-filled batteries floating. In the course of this video, I've had these radios set up a few different ways. So you've heard the voice on it to talk, you've heard it beep, you've heard it not. You know, those are all settings that you can press the menu button and adjust yourself to your liking. Do you want it to chirp when you're done talking? Do you want it to literally say your call sign every time that you press the PTT button? Those are all settings you can turn on and off on this device. Here's my blackout snack time sling bag, the V2 edition in the X pack. Got a little OEG EDC and a little bit of Workerman blackout bead action on here. The big ass Peak Reaper, deep dive designs, giant Metroid, and because I am in fact a Cyber War veteran, Stolen Valor is on here as well too. Oh, on the radio, I swapped out for an antiquated The Devil Made Me Do It Cuphead, my own patch up here. There's still a few more left on shop.xero.style if you want one. And for maximum wireless penetration exploration, I've got my Ponagachi in here too. So this bag right here is my Ponagachi. Basically, the heart of this guy is a Raspberry Pi Zero wireless board with just a little integrated hat squeezed onto the top of it for an LCD display. It's running Raspbian Linux with a custom piece of software called Ponagachi on top of it. It's basically an A2E AI, quote unquote, a learning model that teaches this guy how to do his job better. He is a visual interface for BetterCap, a tool used for reading wireless packets out of the air. This guy eats wireless packets basically, so I just need to feed him as many handshakes as I possibly can. It looks for the special key material in 3-way handshakes. It's able to connect to certain styles of routers themselves directly and have them dispose their own keys, stuff like that, that allows this guy to, I don't want to say steal your wireless passwords because they're encrypted and you'd have to hashcat, blast those things to decrypt them or use rainbow table attacks or whatever, but this is a fun way of exploring wireless networks around you. I wouldn't exactly call this penetration testing, but I mean, it's penetration testing adjacent. Is this legal? That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. We're just reading stuff out of the air. I'm not de-authing clients and kicking people out there. So this guy, he eats wireless handshakes. He's a little AI-powered hacker in the style of Radical Edward from Cowboy Bebop. I actually designed this whole user interface myself for the project. I'm going to release that someday, I guess. I'm not saying I'm going to crack people's wireless passwords, but this guy could in the end. On the side here on the web field, we got 2 patches, Hack the Planet floppy from Casa de Legmo, and a Skeletor Keck, because we're just having fun out here from 52 Graves. With an Alpha Wireless hanging out the back with a battery pack. Tuck that guy right in here. Double-fisted antenna airwaves. Gotta appease my EDC fans as well here too, and just do a quick pocket check. I've got a Blackout Edition ZF Cup with a double feature plague. I've got a 3D printed Pandemic and a squishy PVC scowl. From Filthy Freaker OG, we've got the Blackout Pirate Dad Graffiti. On the inside here, we've got wallet, cash, normal kind of stuff cards. On the other side here, the Nightcore Tiki glow-in-the-dark edition with a little OEG EDC glow-in-the-dark bead to match it up. And for my knife, I've got the 4T5 Designs Rio. This is the Wave Damascus and Black Micarta edition with a fatty EDC Booze triple stacker bead on the back side. This is a tiny little Kiradashi style front flipper blade, and I love this thing, man. It's awesome. It's a great little knife if you just need for opening packages and cutting zip ties and just simple EDC daily tasks. It's the perfect kind of knife for that. Fits right in your wallet with all your other junk, in your cargo pocket, or inside your sling bag. Radio in this context is a huge field. There are so many different frequency bands, whether it's the family radio service, FRS, the multi-use radio service, MERS, the general radio service, whatever it is, GMRS, ham radio bands. There's just so much, and it's impossible for me to remember all that with all the other crap I have to remember in my life. So I've made this cheat sheet website. It's on my lab.xero website. Under notes, under radios, link in the description. It has all of the MERS, GMRS, FRS, ham radio, as well as local stuff, links to licensing info. I know this is going to come up in the comments, so I'm just going to address it right now. You're going to say something like, hey Xero, I got one of these radios and I can't pick up anything. What do you listen to on these things? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the number one thing that I listen to on this radio is the NOAA weather broadcast. Honestly. I also really get nibby with my son's school radio system. I kind of hung out there and cloned one of their radios as they were talking around after I looked up the frequency that it was on and whatever. We have local analog safety here, so fire, EMS, and police, I listen to those way too much. It's kind of like paranoia inducing, to be honest with you. I'm really more interested in the businesses that I can snoop on. If I'm being completely honest with you, I've been having all kinds of fun listening to the Port Authority bus drivers, meter maids, random people working at Lowe's. It's just cool to scan in known frequencies where you expect the radios to be when you see someone with a radio and then just start listening. I'm not transmitting on these FCC. Don't be fucking... I'm allowed to listen to whatever I want. It is over the air in plain sight for everyone to see. So if you're worried about doing encrypted comms off the grid, this is not the device for you. These things can be triangulated pretty easily if you know what you're doing and you have the resources to do so. That being said, evaluate your threat model. Are people going to be triangulating your position on your little ham radio when you're talking to somebody who works at Lowe's? Come on, no. That being said, you got to know what the law is and be honest about what you're doing here and think about what's happening before you decide to do it. So, listening is totally legal in every sense. Anything that this thing can pick up, you are allowed to listen to, and I listen to whatever I can pick up. Because it's fun. I don't know. It's interesting just hearing life around you, things that are pulling from the sky in the air down to this little device and then becoming a human voice in a box is fun. I don't know. I am a hacker. I love to explore what is out there. I think that the Safari Zone is the best place to be in, looking around and seeing what people just have out there. My crime is that of curiosity, to quote the manifesto. I am a live wire electron, just listening to what's going on around you. Now, Doomsday Preppers, do I think that this is the ultimate radio to end all radios? Fuck no! Dude, this is a sub $30 Chinese piece of junk. It's what it is. But it is a great introductory tool to learn how to use one of these radios. And in a total disaster, end of the world emergency, any radio is better than no radio. So, do I think that I need to invest in a $200 radio? No. This thing would do what I would need it to do in an apocalypse disaster if it was going to do anything at all. And what do I think it would do? I mean, having the ability to have off-grid comms is super important, but it more be around your own close-knit community. Sure, this thing has like a one-touch clone feature where you can just, listen to a frequency and clone it and immediately have it set up to the same frequency. It's great if you've got 5 radios and you're gonna, pass them out to your friends in the apocalypse so you can all chat with each other while you're on guard looking for zombies or whatever. But it's not gonna be one of those things where you're just gonna like reach out and touch random people all of the time. You're gonna have to look for people and find them, or broadcast yourself a lot on a bunch of different, time intervals on the same channel to try and hope somebody else hears you. So I'm interested in doing this from the hacker's mentality, not the prepper's mentality. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I've really been carrying this radio for like a week now. And it's interesting. I'm having fun learning and seeing what I can find. But if my son wouldn't have wanted to go on this journey, I don't think that I would have on my own. But yet here I am carrying this radio because I've got it and I want to see what I can do with this thing that I bought. So you decide your own level of involvement, right? Well, that is the video for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like. It's the free social currency here on YouTube. If you're interested in buying one of these radios, use my links down in the description below. If you're going to buy patches, use my links down in the description below with my discount codes. I get no kickbacks for those. That is pure hookup for you. That is just pure love for me in the patch game. And if no one has told you today, you are a rad person who deserves love and praise just like everybody else in this world. Get out there today, have some fun, and try something new that you've been kind of scared to do. Try something that you've never done but you're interested in. Something that just sparks your interest. I want you to research and check it out and try it. Something that you've been scared to try for some reason or another. I want you to try it this week. That is my pep talk to you. Get out there and do something new. And do it for you. Or don't. If somebody in your life wants you to try and learn how to do something, if your wife wants you to learn how to cook better, or if you're scared to drive a forklift for some reason but you can get more money at your job for doing it, maybe try. Either way, have yourselves a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Later on. This is Wishes599. Do you read me? Over.